Let's see here. There it is. We're live. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. Oh, and it gives me the eyeball here so I can see. Everyone, Sensei Victoria here. You know my face, obviously, because we're on Facebook. And I'm excited to get to talk about how to do strategic planning. And I love it. Nettie's already shimmying of like, yes, talk nerdy to me, woman. Yeah. Like this for us is our jam, especially for Nettie. For me, my thing is the vision. I love helping people see a bigger vision for themselves, right? And by the way, comment below. Let us know if you're live. I see everyone coming in and watching live. Thank you for the big love. Hit the share button. If there's someone else that you know and love who needs to learn how to do strategic planning in a certain way, and also comment below with your questions of what you're curious about in regards to strategic planning. I hope I'm able to see it here while we're streaming. If not, whatever, I'll do my best.
I can.
Can? Okay, awesome.
Yes. Oh, hey, Zaina.
Hi, Zaina. Okay. Thank you, Zaina, Goddess, for helping us to to test the technology, because like this, we're doing something.
Oh, hey, Steve.
Woo, woo, woo. There's Steve. What's up? So let's talk about this, how we do strategic planning, because Nettie, you and I, we've been working together for years.
Yeah.
And
it's like we had our 5-year anniversary of working together. That feels like a special milestone. We should probably celebrate. Oh, let's go live and talk about what we do when we work together.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, here we are. And the thing that's evolved over time, like we've been growing together in business and really honing our energy. And one thing that we found is that in both our communities, we do strategic planning a little bit differently. For how you do it with the structure that you set up, as well as the accountability structures, is really powerful. And how I do it with the energy structures is really powerful. When we work together, it's really cool to see how that comes together. And what I love, especially about like when I attend events of yours, is the networking element, that you are a master connector. You're a master connector. That's your zone of genius, is helping others gather around strategic planning, and it brings out another layer of magic. And I'm curious, like on that note of gathering people around doing strategic planning, like if you could offer some insight of like what does that look like, and what have you seen in how you do strategic planning in particular. And by the way, like give us some, like you have a bit of a background in being organized, and to stay understated.
Just a little bit of a background in being organized. I'm not going to get into my full background. If you want to check out my full background, you can go to nettieowens.com, and there's an about me. You can read all about me and learn all the things. But I am a certified professional organizer in chronic disorganization. So not only do I have a background in organization, but I have a background in organization when it's difficult, right? So, and that's a lot of times what we're talking about. If you're here and you're like, gosh, I'm not quite sure how to do strategic planning, then perhaps you've tried and you have struggled with either creating the plan, or like you love creating the plan and you're struggling with executing the plan. So somewhere in there's like a little bit of a disconnect. But to get back to what you were talking about with the networking, I will honestly say, as much as I love creating the networks, which mug do you have?
This is if you like this mug, Melinda, this was a gift from Nettie during one of your strategic planning events. You were like, oh, this embrace your inner unicorn. When I saw this mug, this was you, Victoria. I'm like, you bet your booty. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. So while I love bringing people together to network and collaborate and connect, and I love doing strategic planning, until you said it just right then, I am not quite sure that I realized that the bringing people together is part of the strategic planning. Like, it is an essential element of it. And so, I got it. Like, we connect, we collaborate, we share ideas. I knew that part of it, but it's actually part of the secret sauce that makes the strategic planning that we're talking about different. And you mentioned also that your part in this is the vision. And without that vision, the strategic plan cannot be created, right? Without that clarity in the vision, we got nothing. It's why, when we've done some events together, it works really well because you handle the vision and then I handle the structure. And we've done things with your events where people come into your retreat and then leave the retreat and do the planning with me on how they're going to execute what they just saw. Because it can be really overwhelming to see, like, oh my gosh, I know this is what I'm creating, but I'm not sure how to craft the plan to get there. And there's a formula to it. It's not rocket science, but that doesn't mean it's simple or easy. Or maybe I should say that it's fairly simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy. So it can feel like rocket science if you haven't figured it out. So the networking, I just want to talk a little bit about why that's important here. If you are a fan of masterminds, or maybe you haven't even had a mastermind ever before, but this idea of maybe you've tried to solve a problem by calling a friend, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about here. It's having more than one brain looking at the same challenge, and you're going to see things from different perspectives. When you have your eyeballs looking at a challenge or a problem or something that you're working on long enough, you no longer see it. You know this. How many here have like sent an email that had a typo that was so glaring? It was like obvious. It's in the first line, you misspelled the person's name, but you didn't see it. Not because you're not careful or conscientious, but just because you're too familiar with it. So it's important to have that group of peers, and diverse peers in people's experiences, length in business, backgrounds, like personal backgrounds, religious backgrounds, philosophical backgrounds, that diversity and capability, because they're going to see parts of your plan that you're like, oh, well, of course you go from A to B, and that person says there's no path from A to B. Like, or in my experience, you get to A to B by going this way, and they can just make it easier. So if you've sat and you've created a strategic plan, just, you grabbed your paper, you got a spreadsheet open and you started working on it, but you didn't have that support of a peer group to help you with it, you're missing the magic that can really bring your strategic plan to life. So we can talk about how to create a strategic plan, and that's the title of what we're discussing here today. But know that part of it is this sharing in community of the plan to make sure that it's got all the things that it needs to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, there's another layer of magic and manifestation that comes through when you're able to be with other people in the process of it. I'm a firm believer that people are amplifiers, right? So when you declare your vision to, the universe, that's awesome. Essential. Ask in the first place so that it is given. Shout out to anyone who hasn't asked yet, right? For it to be given, start there. And then if you really want to take that manifestation to the next level, when you ask and you share your vision with somebody else, they're an amplifier. If you can imagine that you're speaking to the universe, this is like, you know, I want to hit 100 grand in my business this year, or I want to lose 30 pounds this year, or I want to, you know, manifest like a fabulous sex life this year, whatever you're doing. Well, hey, you know, whatever's coming through, whatever's in alignment.
Tell me more about that.
Are we breaking the fans out? Oh, yeah, baby. Woo. Fabulous. So if that's what we're calling in, whatever it may be, when you speak it in the presence of another person, this is literally like putting a loudspeaker in front of your mouth in so that more people can hear it. And so I want to back up what you're saying, Nettie, there, and that there's like magic that comes, like you so eloquently shared, that there's the diversity, the strength in diversity, the unity in diversity of having multiple eyes looking at what you are creating and bringing that out. The power of strategic planning together, as opposed to just strategic planning by yourself. Now, my spirit guides are telling me to back up and break it down Barney style. For those of us who, and Barney style is, I love you, you love me, we're a great big family. Nothing more complicated than that, right? With that being said, I'm a fan. I'm turned on by foundations and definitions. Nom, 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 nom. I love being specific and on the same page. So if you could you tell me what is strategic planning, like as a baseline? I'm a kindergartner and I'm looking at you like, huh? Like, what is that as a baseline definition? And why would someone want to do that? Like, could you, I'm curious, could you give that to, hey, Andrea, what's up, baby?
Yes, absolutely. So strategic planning. I actually was talking about this from in the book that I just finished up. I just sent the copy over to the publisher. It's in that like copy editing stage of things. It'll be out in March, but it's the second volume in What Businesses Need to Know right now. And a strategic plan. I just want to actually like bring this up from what's in the book, because I think, you know.
Oh, are we having a premiere? I get to have Nettie Owens reading from her unpublished book live on my channel for y'all. Y'all, like, let me know in the comments if you're excited to hear it first before even the publisher gets it. Like, I want to hear who's excited to get to hear from her book. Like, tell it, like, yes, I see you in the comments, Andrea. Like, who's excited for this? And to all of those of you who are working on your books, for sending juicy book publishing and finishing energy, right? Take it in. Yeah.
It's loading. I'm just like, the file is loading right now as we speak. All right, give me some seconds. Sometimes things take a little longer to load when they are. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read this. It's just right from the book. The book opens with strategy. It's so important. It's so important. So I'll just read the beginning segment of it. So strategy, headline, choices are the hinges of destiny. Ooh. Pythagoras. Mm-hmm. There's an old guy for you, right? Pythagoras, as in, for our science and math nerds, Pythagorean theorem. Mm-hmm. It's the same guy, okay? And go on to say the word strategy has its root in the Greek word strategia. It's a military term meaning the office of the general. The non-military definition is a plan to achieve an aim or goal. Being strategic means you're making plans to achieve your goals. Therefore, we start our exploration into what your business needs right now with the strategy, the plan from you, the general of your company. Yay, just a little segment. So here's the thing.
Fabulous.
I often use military and battle and war analogies. This comes from a person who's very peace oriented, very peace loving. However, there are things about battle that are similar to the experiences that you have in life and in business. And one of those things is, while you go in with a plan, that plan has to be adaptable to what you are experiencing in front of you. So you have to be willing to have an idea of what you're about to accomplish, and also be willing to take inputs on the fly and adapt to what is happening. And when is this more relevant than right now, when we were all like, oh, we know what's going on, we know what's going on. And then 2 years ago, the pandemic hits, and suddenly, we have to be adaptable when we weren't. We thought, that we were adaptable, but we weren't anywhere close to being adaptable. And so now I do think we've been working that adaptability muscle, and some people maybe a little bit better than others, but that's okay. Everybody's on their journey where they are. But that's why I pull these analogies in, because it's a really great frame of reference. Imagine somebody going into battle and they're like, I'm going to get there by noon. We're going to, it's going to be really dark, but we're going to kill, this many enemy troops. By this point, we're not going to lose, or maybe we are. We're going to lose this percentage of our soldiers at this point. That's not the reality. Like, you get on the battlefield and suddenly they have a weapon you didn't expect. It rains, your machinery doesn't work. Like, all of these things are just, and so you have to be able to adapt on the fly. So whatever plan the general produces has to be adaptable. And that's really that kind of frame of mind that you want to start with when you're creating your strategic plan. So we start with the vision, having a clarity on where we're going. And that doesn't mean how. Like, the how is not part of the vision. The how has no place in the vision. It's just, where are you going? I'm going to Tucson. I know I'm going to end up in Tucson. That's it. And this is how it's going to feel in Tucson. And these are the fun things I'm going to do in Tucson. And these are the people I want to be around, or the kinds of people I want to be around in Tucson. But I'm not going to worry about how I'm getting there. And the how, we start to create the structure and framework in the strategic plan. Once you see that, there's a process to walk backwards and look at, sorry, I was reading Zaina's comment.
Yes,
Thank
Zaina.
you for that.
Amen.
Really, really good. Can you pop that up on the underneath?
Let me see
Share
if
her
I
comment.
can. I show? Woo! Welcome on camera, Zaina.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you, Zaina, for that. So we walk backwards, because when we walk forwards, we take with us, it's like we're drawing with us all the stuff that we already have in our current reality. But when we walk backwards, we have none of those encumberments.
Mm-hmm.
None of them. They're all gone. And we're just walking backwards from, this is possible. If this is possible, then what would I have done here? If this was possible, then what would I have done here? And then you just keep walking, and then all of a sudden you're back to the beginning, and you're like, oh, well, all I have to do is this. And I just have to take this one little step if I'm going to make it there if I'm going to make it to Tucson in a year, right? Then this is the one little step that I need to take forward today. And it's super easy to make that step. So in the strategic planning methodology that I teach and recommend, we're going to start with that vision, get clarity there. And then we're going to walk back in increments. We're going to start with, 3 months from that end point. If, let's say, we're doing a year, just hypothetically speaking, say we're doing a year, we're going to walk back 3 months. So 9 months from now, what has to be done and true? And then we walk back a little bit further. 6 months from now, what has to be true? 3 months from now. And then we start getting a little more refined. 2 months, 1 month. And then we look at the next couple of weeks, and we look at today. We go all the way back, and that's it. And your framework, your strategy becomes a framework. And this framework I call your battle board. I didn't make that name up. It came from Brendan Burchard. He calls it a battle board. I don't know what his battle board looks like. I call what I made up a battle board, and I post it, literally post
Right
it
now,
on my wall.
there it is. Her
And
whole year is right there on the wall.
I can see it right from over top of my computer. It's sitting right there. It's in layers, like the first top layers, the first quarter of the year. I have a goal for that quarter. I can see all the things. Each month is broken down. The next quarter, I see the next 3 months. What is that? April, May, June. There's something over top of April, May. It took me a second to remember what months were there. And then Q3, the goal for that, in July, August, September, and Q4, October, November, December. And each one is broken down. And each one gives me the ability to celebrate what was achieved. What are the metrics I'm going to use at that time? And what things are going on that I really need to put my attention to. It's super, super simple process. And this is not small. And you saw it covers my wall. I have to be able to see it. And the other thing that's not currently on this battle board, which makes it so much more fun and colorful, is you can make your battle board like a vision board, and you just pop up there like the picture of you doing the thing, you receiving the certificate or the shaking hands with the client. You just put those photographs up there. You feeling like your best self, dressed in the clothes that you want to wear, or pictures of the clothes that you want to wear and the colors you want to wear. All that can just get sprinkled in, and that just makes for, that like ties all those pieces. So you see the vision, like visually see the vision posted on top of your battle board. It's when you plan in this particular way, then there's room for adaptability. So while it's all posted up here, you can say, okay, the focus in this month, if I'm going to reach that thing, is this. If February happens in March, the world does not come to a stop. If you move March up a little bit because certain things got done early, also fine, right? That's okay. We can kind of move things around. Victoria and I were having a conversation just before this and talking about we need to start doing a particular activity. We need to start asking people more about what they want. So actually, this is a really good exercise. I want you to drop in the chat, what do you need? What are you missing in trying to create your strategic plan? What is it you need in order to create your strategic plan? What haven't you had in your toolkit so far in order to create your strategic plan? Do you need time? Do you need space? Do you need to know how to do it? Do you need to have a peer group? Because we talked about saying how, having those extra eyes on it while you're doing it is important. What is it that hasn't been in place yet? Or maybe you used to do this really well and you haven't been doing it. So what are those things? And just if you could drop them in there, because what you're going to see coming up in the next few months and going forward is we're going to be asking you more questions. We're going to ask you more. We're going to ask you what's working. We're going to ask you what's not working. We're going to ask you what you like as you go along. So that step is not in my battle board, but there's no reason why it can't be added. There's plenty of room for it. If I'm going to reach my goal, that becomes one of the ways that I reach my goal, as adding this new piece into this new activity into the battle board. All right, I'm reading some of the answers here. So
yeah, we're going to bring them up in the second. And everyone, keep dropping in the chat what is missing from how you do strategic planning. And let us know, do you feel like hearing us talking about who needs a battle board? Say, I need a battle board. I need a battle board. Put it in the chat box. Tell us who needs one, because I can speak as everyone's typing, I'm sure. And by the way, if you know somebody who needs to do some strategic planning, share this, hit the share button or tag them in the comments below and let them know, this one was for you. For some reason, Victoria brought Nettie live because this one was for you. So while everyone's typing, I just also want to add that my whole life changed as an entrepreneur and business owner when I started looking at the whole year, like the year as a whole. So like I was just speaking to my good friend Christine Zielinski late last night, and how she's like, oh, I'm not really good at that vision stuff. Like I can't really be looking out farther than a month ahead. And I'm like, baby, I got the 12-month honker on the wall eating up the whole wall. I wish I could move I'm unable to move my camera like you were able to. But like it's eating up the whole wall where I have last year's 12 months and this year's 12 months. And then I like put it over to make sure that like we're doing the same things I've committed to, as well as innovating on what happened last time. So I like to see it as like a 2-year clip. But yours is amazing having that battle board because you have the entire year, the roadmap, step by step to get you where you wanted to go because you backed into having it. And so I just wanted to drop that in here. I'm gonna bring Andrea says, so what's missing for her is she needs to know how to do it. Is there something that you wanted to say to that, Nettie? By the way, Andrea, click the link in the description, check out the symposium because we're gonna be doing it live.
So I know a little secret, and Andrea will be doing it with us live. So Andrea has already said yes, she's going to be at the Strategy Symposium next week, and this is part of it. You know, we look at all of these elements, and then we create it. So how to do it? And actually, I'm going to tie this into Zaina's question too, because her question was, every time I answer this question, I follow what I think is the answer, and it turns out that it's not it. So maybe it's nothing, or maybe it's confidence or consistency. I'm not really sure. So I will tell you that most people do know, in some sense, it's just like an innate thing to kind of know, they kind of know what to do, but they're not doing it. Yeah. More often than not, people know what to do, but they're not doing it. When we get to a certain stage in our life and our business, we know, even if it's that we knew what to do, at some point there is that like writing on our DNA about like what it is we're supposed to be doing, but we're not following it for whatever reason. Either we're not tapping into it, we're not like tuning into that knowledge, we're not pausing long enough, or we're listening to too many outside influences. So this goes back to confidence and consistency, trusting that the plan you make is actually a really good plan and it's worth following. So while we talk about peer groups and things like that, we're not talking about if somebody in that peer group said, hey, this is exactly how you do it, you go from here to here. I would be leery of that. So when we do our masterminding in the workshops that I run, I always remind people to start with what works for me was, this is what works for me, because you're not that person. Your business isn't that person's business. And while that worked for them and it was written on their DNA of this is how they do it and this is what they know they should do, it's not yours. So you can take that idea and you can say, this is my fan. My fan looks different. Let me turn it this way. My fan looks different than Victoria's fan. We both have kind of a Japanese flair to ours. But they're different. They're different colors. They're different, like intricate pieces on how they're put together. All of it's different. So they're both fans, but they're different, and that's fine. So this is mine. And actually there's some parts of it that are broken, but that's okay. Still mine. Like still exactly the way it should be to be my fan. And likewise, hey Jesse, your plan can be influenced by people in so much as you pick up that thing and you go, do I want to add this to my basket of things? Okay, yeah, I'll throw that in and I'll go ahead and see how I might incorporate into my plan, but don't feel tied to it. So oftentimes when I see people struggling to actualize a plan, they're trying to follow someone else's plan. And it's not that they have like picked the thing up and been inspired by it. They're like trying to shove that thing into their framework and it just doesn't fit. So example is that conversation that Victoria and I were having just prior to this call about asking more questions and how are we going to do that and incorporating quizzes and things like that. I am positive that my mind was coming up with a way to implement that totally different than Victoria's mind, like totally different. And finally get to figure out which direction to point in.
There we are.
Well, there we go. You know, I'm sure of it. And she was probably shown that idea and methodology from somebody who implemented it in their own way. And that came from someone else, you know, maybe Ryan Levesque's Ask method that's implemented in his particular way, right? So we're all thinking like, oh, wow, asking more questions. That seems like a good strategy. How might I use a strategy like that in my business? And then I transform that and apply it. So I'm going to guess, Andrea, that at some point you had some ideas on how to do it and what felt right and how many months ahead you wanted to look and what kinds of ways you wanted to incorporate it. And at some point you lost confidence in yourself to know that that was going to work for you. So my guidance is to trust yourself, trust your intuition. I can give you a framework and some ideas, and so can Victoria. She can teach you how to see that vision. And what she's going to teach you and what's kind of unique about the way that she and I do things is that we're going to teach you to tap into your own way. So I will share my worksheets and my formulas and things like that. And I have people that are like, I hope it's okay. Like, I just ripped the paper in half and I wrote on the back over here. I'm like, yeah. Oh, I needed to add this. It wasn't my idea the first time to add the pictures to make it like a vision board / battle board. That was somebody else's idea. And I was like, I love that idea. Let me just like throw that up over here. Yeah. It has to be your own. And you have to know that your ideas, you yourself, exactly as you are, have exactly what you need.
What matters most is how you feel. You are the person embodying the vision. You are the one who is enacting the battle board. If you're not feeling the battle board that has been laid out, that's a whole nother can of worms. That if it's chock full of other people's secret sauce or their 7 steps to a breakthrough or their secrets, right, of how to do, or their hacks, etc. If it's full of other people's energy, it's not full of your energy. And to really claim that wisdom is what we are on the side of, and that is how we do strategic planning. So I want to honor time and anchor us in. If you could just give a little bit of an overview as we start to button things up here, Nettie, of if anyone, like, by the way, if you need to do strategic planning, type it in the comments below. So I need to do my strategic plan. It's time. It's January, blah, blah, blah. I need to do my strategic planning. What's up, lovely? Hey, goddess.
Hey, right. Lovely.
So if that's you, type it in the comments because we're going to be getting into doing this live and you're providing an incredible opportunity to have an immersive experience of strategic planning in community, in the methodology that you've developed. So if you could just give a brief overview of what people can expect should they decide to hop in to the event. The event's called the Strategy Symposium. Is that right?
That is right. Absolutely. So the Strategy Symposium is coming up next week. We offer the symposium over 3 days, but you choose the one day that works best for you. So we offer 3 days because we're offering this event virtually, which, just a note, when you're offering an event in person, everybody's on the same time zone. But when you're offering an event virtually, people are exactly where they are in their time zone. So our intention was to pick people up along the way. Day one, if you come in for that group, is kind of the Eastern, maybe Central time. And then we move over to day two, which is maybe Central Mountain, and then day three, which is Mountain Pacific, right? So depends on what your schedule looks like. Pick your day. And then when you show up for your day, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of take that time to look back. You've learned so much over these last 12 months. We don't want to lose that learning. So we're going to look back at the successes, the challenges, the learning that you've had over the 12 months. And we're going to pull out all those tools that you gathered and use them throughout the day. So that's number one. And we spend a good amount of time in that, like pulling out the tools, because when we just like move forward without doing this step, you're likely to continue to repeat the patterns that you've been experiencing. So when we pause to do this, you can say, oh my gosh, I had success doing this. I don't have to recreate this particular thing. I can take this and I can apply it forward. Or you can say, I'm noticing that every time I do this exercise, this particular challenge comes up. Maybe we need to address that this year. Maybe we need to address that in the plan this year. So that's the first thing. The second thing is creating your vision. So we see it, like we take some time to see that vision, and we look at the obstacles that might come up. So we project forward what obstacles we foresee could come up in the next year, and we make a plan ahead of time to address them. So you're pretty astute and aware of what kinds of things challenge you, and you're going to know like, always I have a challenge with time, or always I have a challenge with following up with people, or whatever it is. We're going to throw that in there, and we're going to determine a plan to address those obstacles. And then we get into the goals that breaking that vision down into goals. So you'll have a chance to write 7 to 10 goals for the year. And once we have those goals, then we start breaking that down even further, and we look at your quarterly rocks that you need to establish. And that terminology comes from Gino Wickman's book, Traction. So just shout out there. And then breaking it down even further to the next 3 months that are right immediately ahead of you, and the month ahead of you, and the focus areas for that month. So we just keep getting closer and closer. And within it, you have the workbook that you'll receive for this workshop has all of the resources that you're going to need to walk through that whole path. And if you register now, you will have all of those materials in hand, like physically. You're going to get the book to do this, and your plan will be documented in it. And the other cool part is the book has all the pages for you to put your battle board onto the wall.
You send that in the mail?
Yeah, you get like a participant package that includes all the information for the event, a workbook, the templates for you to make your own battle boards that you can just post up on the wall. And we put a whole bunch of other like juicy things in there, which you'll see when you register. But just to kind of go over your day. And then before we go, so this is one day, we move quickly, but not in an overwhelming pace. Okay, so we go through a lot of stuff, but you will have this done by the end of the day. After you've done all of that, before we leave this like magic pot of soup that we're in, you have time to start implementing your plan. what I know from having experience going to conferences myself and going to workshops is you're in this space and you're like, I've got it. I'm thinking about it. I know how these pieces work. And then like, okay, bye. So you go out and you go back to your office and you're like doing the thing and you're like, wow, I had this figured out. I know how I was going to do it, but now it just doesn't make sense. So before you leave the soup, right, you start implementing. So while you're in this group and you're like, oh, okay, oh, that's how all these pieces work. Hey, Andrea, I was trying to sort this out. Can you help me figure this out? So we have implementation and collaboration time while you're in the mix so you can work through your plan with others. And then we close for the day. And that is your day. Now, that would be enough, right? I mean, that would be.
Oh no! Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so hold the chin. You are about to give me even more. Let me just make sure I heard you correctly. You said in one day, you are literally going to help me hand myself the roadmap to my entire year ahead in one day. And I don't have to print it out because, side note, for me, like, it's annoying to have to waste all that printer ink, like, on all of, like, printing out big ass binders, excuse my French, so that I'm able to focus. And also, like, not only do I not, like, I don't have to do the printing cost, you're going to send me the actual, like, workbook that you created for the event, but you're also going to guide me through filling it out. So I walk away in one day. I'm going to walk away with exactly how to achieve what I want to over the next year. I'm going to have my whole year mapped out. This is what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, if anyone's watching, if you just heard what, like, if I don't know if you're watching right now, Andrea, I see Andrea in the comment. Is that, like, do you want that? Who wants to know how to make what they want happen in 2022? Who wants that? Like, type me in the comments below. Like, who wants to know, to have the exactly how? Who wants their strategic plan? Like, and by the way, who, like, type it in the comments below, me, if that's you, right? And let me know who wants to not waste any more than one day getting it done. Because, side note, I'm a visionary. I'm going to be the one that's going to keep figuring it out and seeing new ways how to figure all this types of stuff. Like, I need a handler. Nettie, as a side note, is a handler. I need a handler to, like, help contain this creative energy. So, like, if that's something that you're calling in, if you want your strategic plan for 2022, type it in the comments below. I want to see who is watching live who's resonating with this, and hit the share button, because you know somebody, I can guarantee, who needs to be in this room. Now I'm already like, okay, all right. I've paid $2,000-$3,000 to be sitting in a room like this. And that also has been over the course of a few days. And side note, I've been to your events before, and you are not exaggerating. You are not exaggerating. You are little, like, I can tell you, I put my Victoria stamp of approval on Nettie. She is not exaggerating. She's actually, like, being humble, which is beautiful and respectable. But, like, all right, you're going to give us the exactly how for each individual for the year ahead. But you said there's more.
So one thing that was really well received when we did this workshop last year, that I didn't mention as we were walking through it, because it's someplace, especially if you're creative, if you are that visionary, it's someplace that you might know what you want, but you're not quite sure how to get there. And you don't really like talking about this thing either. And that is, I should get my fan out so I can hide behind it so I can, like, whisper it and be like, that's talking about the money.
Yes.
So what we delivered for the first time last year at this event was a financial strategic plan. So not just the goals and things like that, but where you could plug in the services that you offer, the programs, the products that you offer, however you earn the money, however those revenue streams come into you, and then it just calculated out for you. It calculated how much you need to set aside to pay yourself, to pay your bills, to pay your taxes, and how many it's easy to just put those numbers in there. So that is something that's also available that we go over how to use that particular tool. I'm not like, I don't make stuff up that I don't use. These are the tools that I use. And again, when I've worked with clients, we massage them. We're like, oh, you have just 2 things that you receive revenue. Okay, that's fine. We'll just leave this last line out. Or, all of your months are the same, or all your months are different. And there's availability to kind of use how you implement your version of your business. That's included in our day. That's not separate. That's not bonus material. That's included in our day. But I was going to talk. So this is like, all this stuff is enough. And as Victoria said, strategic planning. I'm going to answer that a second.
All right, Raina, I see you. Thank you.
Is enough, right? But like I said, we do this in community. And I don't know about you, but it's been a long 2 years. And while we're doing this virtually, I really have missed the opportunity to be in community and enjoying that camaraderie that happens when you go to a conference, when you experience a conference with other people. There's the conversations that you have over drinks. There's the walks that you might take through the city that your conference is happening in. There's the fun things that you do, like, hey, you decided to explore that city and you went out and you went to go dancing or to do something else, right? So we didn't want you to miss out on any of that. So all of the bonuses that are included are going to be there to give you that conference experience. We have hired an amazing group called Comic Cure that's brought in top-notch comedians like Marilyn Ragstrup, who's going to be one of our comedians that is presenting basically your own private little personal stand-up comedy show. Tons of fun just to have a laugh, because I know I need it, right? Speed networking, you can get to know people a little bit better. We can't go out and have drinks, but we have happy hour with the experts, and I'll explain who those experts are in just a moment. Oh, nod, nod, wink, wink. One of them is sitting right over here. We have, going for walks in the city. Okay, no big deal. We have Lisa Short coming in to do a movement and focus exercise class. You can get your body going, wrap up your day with a movement and recovery class. That all of this is just extra. You don't have to do it. You could come to your strategy day and you could do nothing else. But if you said, you know what, I miss being in community, these are some fun ways that we can do it. There's hot seat coaching. Andrea was there last year for hot seat coaching. Really fantastic time. She put in her request to be in the hot seat, and we dug into a challenge for her in that time. I'm trying to think, because there's so much additional extra that kind of goes into this.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, every day. So your strategic planning day, I highly recommend that you at lunchtime take a break, go for a walk, get out away from the computer. On the days that it's not your strategic planning day, you can come in to Mastermind and have lunch with the other attendees. So, whatever challenges you might be coming with as you're doing it, you can say, okay, this is it. Zaina, you could bring that question like, hey, I'm working on this, but this is the challenge I'm facing, and come into this group mastermind and help the help of your peers to solve that problem. Masterminds are so, so powerful, and it's why we include them along with the implementation time in just about everything that we do. To go to your question, Zaina, she said, no fan to hide behind. I'll put mine up. I'll just say this as I put mine up. How does the financial plan work if you're not generating revenue yet? Okay, awesome. You know what? It doesn't have to be a lot to go on the plan. So oftentimes we make these goals so big that we're like, oh, the reason I'm not getting this done is because I really made a big goal for myself, and give ourselves this excuse. Like, I'm going to make 6 figures this year when you're not making any money yet. And so there's just such a big gap between here and the 6 figures. One of the things that I have found that works really, really well is to start very, very small. So you know what? This month, I would challenge you to, in whatever way you can, Zaina, to make $100. $100, right? What is the way that you can make $100 this month? We're going to look at how you made $100, and we're going to kind of suss that out. I know it's no joke. Like, I know exactly why I can talk to this is because I know exactly, where you are, and I understand that. And then the next month, all we're going to plan for is that you keep that $100. So however you made $100 last month, we want to do that again. And all we're going to do is increase it a little bit. Now, increasing it a little bit when we're talking about $100 could be making $200. Just whatever you did last month, we're going to do that twice this month. Or it could mean something even smaller, like we're just going to increase that by $25. Or it could be a little bit bigger, like that worked really well. We can 5 times that. But we're going to come up with a plan using this model that allows you to grow incrementally. And I promise you, if you are making these incremental steps, you will reach your goals. It's so often that we we expect it to be done yesterday. And so we're so frustrated. We don't create a system around the things that work. And so we have no way of replicating them and making them successful for us in the future.
It's so true. It's so true. Being in community also creates momentum, because you're running with people who are running. You're running with people who are running. You're not trying to lift yourself up, or you're trying to push against the tide of people who are not growing. And by the way, the scale of the issue doesn't really matter. Whether we're talking about making your next $100 a month or next 100,000 a month. We have people who are at all different levels of development in the room. What we're all orienting to is creating momentum and having a network of CEOs that are committed to creating momentum, period. They want to be around other CEOs who are creating momentum in their lives. So if that is something that speaks to anyone that's watching, right, Zaina, right, click on the link that I've dropped in the chat. Andrea will see you next week. And everyone, by the way, tag Nettie in the comments below. We're going to bring this this live to a close, right? Buttoning this up, because I also I'm going to go lead a vision meditation. I'm super excited for that because it's Thursday night. But I want us to honor the fact that this is an opportunity to really have the most structured, secure, and clear year yet. This is an opportunity to be crystal clear on what is the structure that is going to carry you to your vision in 2021. If that speaks to you, you want to know for a fact what's the bridge between here and there, I highly recommend. I mean, I'll see you there if you're coming, right? We'll see you there if you're coming. But this is an opportunity to really build that bridge in a concrete way, and in one day walk away with that bridge intact, so that you know the exact steps, as well as connect with the network of other CEOs like you who are building that bridge and walking across it this year. So if that's you, click the link in the comments below. And we'll see you on the other side. Nettie got us
Can I put 2 seconds in? It's not going to be 2 seconds. We did not talk about something that was super important, and that is you, right? So Victoria is coming in as one of our experts. Something that's different about what we do is you get 14 expert presentations all around different kinds of strategy: sales strategy, vision strategy, removing blocks strategy, finding money strategy,
Yes.
family conflict strategy. Like, all of it is all in the package. As soon as you click that button to register, you get all of these strategic presentations delivered right to you at the event. All of the presenters are there for you to work with, to help. So you watch the presentations that are relevant to you, and then you come in and you can work with those presenters on the things that you learned. That's really important. And the last thing I want to share, because Victoria did not put this in the link, but if you're considering coming, then use Victoria's code. She has a code, her name, first name, all caps, Victoria. You can see how it's spelled right there on the screen, Victoria. And when you put that code in, you will be able to take $25 off of your registration. So use that code, say yes. We'll see you next week. Really, truly looking forward to it. And as soon as you register, you get those presentations, and we'll send your box out to you.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Like, I told, like, get the discount, everybody. I mean, already it is like, I know that I've paid $1,000 to come to these events before in the past. The fact that you are offering it for, what is it, 80% off of that right now? And then with the Victoria code, you get an additional 25 off. Like, you're really opening the door so that more people are able to access this transformational information. And Nettie, sister, I acknowledge your generosity. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen, for that. And I'm so happy and honored and grateful to get to be your journey partner, to be involved in this type of transformational work. I want to see our communities rise up. And this is the way. This is the way.
Absolutely. Well, I'm honored that you had me on to share about this. I'm excited about next week, and I love putting on a show with you.
I can't wait for the party. Woo! Mwah. I love you. I love everyone. And we'll see you on the other side. Big hugs, everyone.